Hey guys, Kate McClellan.
Al Lewison.
Welcome to today's Wealth WOD.
Workout of the day.
We're wearing the same shirt today for a very specific reason.
Shop at the same shop.
Same shop. We've got a number of abbreviations here. A lot of people hear different terms through the property industry and don't actually classify the difference between the meanings of them. So there's classic examples is ROI, ROE, IRR, these sort of terms which mean very different things, but can mean the same. Rip through, Kelly. Go through it. So we're going to go through a number of different abbreviations within the property industry.
It's important though in any industry to make sure you know what you're talking about.
Very true.
Every industry's got its own little acronyms, shortcuts, phrases they use.
Yeah, true.
And until you understand them, you can't go and talk to someone confidently and by getting their respect, because you just sound like you know what you're doing.
That's right. Now let's talk about the first thing, abbreviation. What numbskull came up with the word abbreviation to describe something that's very short? Couldn't you come up with ABS?
ABS.
ABS was taken though, isn't it?
ABV.
ABV?
ABV.
So let's just try and overcome that one as time goes on. Shorten the word abbreviation to make it more relevant. All right, PPOR.
Anyone know what that one is? Anyone in the crowd?
There you go. Primary place of residence.
Or principal.
Or principal place of residence. Yes, so principal place of residence. IP. IP can mean intellectual property. In the property world, it means investment property. So just understand what industry you're in. LVR and DSR, these are probably the big two ones. Come down to your factors. So LVR is obviously loan to value ratio, so the amount of loan you have to the value of the property, and debt service ratio is a calculation by the banks of how much debt you can service.
Next two are ones you need to use to measure any investment: ROI, ROE, so return on investment.
And IRR. There's three.
There's another one, yep.
Yeah,
Sorry,
they're very similar meanings.
Return on investment, return on equity, internal rate of return.
Right, so ROI, the difference is the investment is usually on how much coin I put in, so in return on equity, so similar amounts, is that correct? So if I put $100,000 into an investment and 3 years later I get $200,000 back on top of my initial capital,
it's a good investment.
It's a good investment. We'll do that again. The return on investment, return on equity, very similar. IRR is very different. So internal rate of return is usually worked out on an annual basis. Yeah?
It's an annual return on your money compounding.
Exactly. So the ROE over a 2-year period may be 40%, but the IRR is 20% because that's calculated on an annual basis. Yeah? Make sense? EP, equity partner. JV is a joint venture. So a joint venture. An equity partner may be different to a joint venture, so different legalities sitting in the background.
Really hogging all of these here.
Oh, have a go. You're just sort of standing there with your weird shirt on.
You've got the sheet. ROC, ROC, return on costs. So it's return on the costs of something, obviously.
Yeah.
BC, really important one, especially if you're getting investment property, borrowing capacity.
Everyone should always know their BC.
Know your BC, talk to your brokers.
Yeah.
CE, cost estimate. I've never heard that one. CE, cost estimate. And we got these because we asked around the office and the building, we said, can everyone give us the acronyms they use? And here's what they are.
Yeah.
DD, one I use a lot on our projects, due diligence. So when we buy something, we spend a lot of time in due diligence, dotting the I's and crossing the T's to make sure it's the right investment for us.
So when we buy a project, we'll buy it subject to due diligence. So we might buy it with 90 days due diligence, at which point we can walk away from the deal at any point in time. PIA, property investment analysis.
It's a great one.
So that one there should be done on any investment property you're purchasing to basically work out your net cash flow costs. So every cost factored in, factoring in also your wage and tax brackets, all depreciation, ongoing maintenance, repairs, any costs associated with the property, depreciation, taxation taken into account to give you the out-of-pocket amount. You on this one?
LMI, lender's mortgage insurance. Again, one that most property investors will know. The banks will typically lend to 80%. If you want to borrow more, you can, 90-95% we see, but they bring in a lender's mortgage insurer. So that's where the bank goes to someone and offsets some risk by bringing them in to sit over the top.
That's right.
Like
so
Big Brother almost, monitoring over the loans.
It's a good way to think of it. So say if there's 10 different banks or 10 different lenders down the bottom, there's 2 lenders mortgage insurers above. So they're the insurance company that the bank go to take an insurance policy out over the extra percentage that they want to give to you. IDC, interest during construction, so the interest component.
QSR, quantity surveyor report.
There you go, so that's a depreciation schedule.
Tax depreciation schedule.
CPI, pretty basic, consumer price index. So the amount of increase in the cost of goods at any point in time. You know that one?
LCR, land content ratio, really important. Land appreciates, buildings depreciate. So important to have the right land content ratio. At least half your investment should made up in the value of the land.
Yeah, the next one is my favourite one. I love this one. OPM, other people's money.
OPM.
Love using other people's money to give me a higher return investment.
Two forms of OPM, isn't there, in investment properties?
There's two forms.
You've got the banks, who is the gearing on your property. You put in the initial 10%, they lend 90%. The tenant, OPR.
Oh, yes.
OPM, sorry, other people's money. The tenant's paying you rent, they're paying the loan off for you.
Yep. PAYG, pay as you go taxation, so that's if you're an employee.
SMSF, a lot of people get scared by this one, self-managed super fund. It's actually sounds scarier than it really is, so worth investigating if you don't already do it.
So what's the difference with the self-managed super fund without doing a little diagram? You're basically currently the super fund, if you're with an industry fund, one of these ones.
Sorry?
Yeah, one of those ones.
Yep.
Yeah, one of those ones.
Here's my take on it. So if I'm working in my job and I'm in an industry fund, there's a guy who's probably just finished uni sitting somewhere in a building in Collins Street in Melbourne or somewhere in Sydney.
Smacked out on Red Bull.
And they've got access to my bank account that my super money's in, and they're throwing darts and investing in places. Difference being, if I get my own super fund, I take my bank account off him and I give it to myself and I control the bank account directly.
Yeah.
My simple way to look at it.
Yeah, safer in my view for myself to control it. Each person needs to make their own decision. PDS, this is a big one when we come into some of our property developments. So product disclosure statement. Product disclosure statement is approved by ASIC and it outlines an overview of any investment, the risks associated, fees associated, and how that investment will
Key terms
flow.
of investment.
Yeah, the waterfall of the flow of cash.
IM, information memorandum, similar to a PDS, not quite so detailed, without a lot of the regulatory impacts the PDS will have and take into account.
Yeah, so if we're dealing with unsophisticated investors, so investors who have less than $250,000 earnings each year for the last 2 years or under $2.5 million worth of net assets, we have to provide them with a product disclosure statement. They're not allowed to invest in our projects which are only require an information memorandum, which is a much smaller document.
Yep.
The rationale being sophisticated investors have enough investment knowledge to make fast investment decisions. So that's not a requirement for ASIC.
DA, development approval, so really relevant to development, construction. You want to put up 100 apartments, you need a DA, development approval to do it.
Yeah.
Once you've got your DA, the next one's a BA, building approval. So different things. DA is the council saying, yep, you can build it. BA is your building surveyors, everyone else saying, yep, you can now build it because all your construction stuff is in line with codes.
Engineering drawings and everything, and
All
your
that stuff.
drainage approvals and all those sort of things.
Yep.
Also, they vary in different states too. So DA and BA is different terminology in different states, so be aware of that. And that's just local terminology. DMA is a development management agreement. If you're engaging someone to manage your development, there's obviously an agreement put in place.
SPV, special purpose vehicle. So if I'm doing a development, rather than do it with all my other assets, I go and create a new entity that's the vehicle for that development of that project.
What's the advantage of having a single special purpose vehicle as opposed to
Per project?
per project, rather than doing all your projects in one?
Taxation benefits, risk benefits, so they're the main ones that sort of I look for.
So the risks of any issues with one project doesn't impact another project. They're totally separate entities.
Yeah, no domino effect of flowing. Yep.
Beautiful. EBT,
Earnings before tax.
that's a good one. EOI, expression of interest. So fairly basic term. So someone has an interest in putting application form in your development. NPV is net present value, which is different to the GRV, which is a gross realised value. So when the project's finished, so it's net value as opposed to its projected gross value. GA, so gross assets. So what's the gross total amount of asset I've got? And NW, which is the real wealth, which comes off your GA, your gross assets. NW is your net wealth. So
Also HAGYD. HAGD. Have a good day.
yeah, YOLO.